Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Uh, Today we are going to start with George Hegel. And the screen is before you, and I'm sure that all of you might be in a position to read out the screen, number one. And number two, uh, you will enjoy this topic, I hope. And why? Because there are touches of mysticism in this topic. Anyway, so let us start with it. Hegel was a German philosopher of early modern period. He was leading figure in the German idealism movement in the early 19th century. And because of his idealistic approach, he is considered Aristotle of modern times. And his way of expression was dialects. And through dialects, he tried his level best to discuss the most important issues which are related to life. And he used this system of dialects to explain the whole of the history of philosophy, science, art, politics, and religion. And we know very well that these are the four most important areas which are to be understood in one's life. And this is the best way to understand them. And with the help of different philosophers, intellectuals, our life becomes very easy and comfortable. So as far as the Hegel is concerned, then he occupies most important position in the world of philosophy, literature, fine art, and aestheticism. So he stands at the highest level in the 19th century, along with German thought, that he had profound impact on many future philosophical schools. It means that he was very prominent among the philosophical schools of thoughts in the 19th century. Hegel was born on the 27th August 1770 in Stuttgart in southwestern Germany. It means that he was a German philosopher and he put forward the philosophy of Kant in order to guide the people in the right direction. He was an enthusiastic reader from a young age. He read Shakespeare, the ancient Greek philosophers, the Bible, and German literature. In addition to German and Latin, he learned Greek, Hebrew, French, and English. Graduated from Tübingen institution in 1793. His major subject was theology. And afterwards, he moved to the University of Jena and served over there as a lecturer. And his lectures were very prominent on logic and metaphysics. And with Schelling, gave joint lectures. It means that along with Schelling, he gave lectures over there. And his first work was published in the year 1802 And that was the book on philosophy. And certainly you will find the difference between Fitz's and Schelling's system of philosophy. His major works have been mentioned over here. Number one, Phenomenology of Mind in 1807, Science of Logic in 1811, Encyclopedia of the Philosophical Science in 1816, Elements of Philosophy of Right in 1821. So these are the works, are the greatest works of Hegel. Now let us have overview of his philosophy. He is a major philosopher of German idealism. As we mentioned earlier, that whole his work is certainly on idealism. The importance of history is that we learn from the past. Now over here, he he shares the importance of history. That what is the importance of history in the life of man? What is the importance of history? History is very much important. Why? Because we learn from it regarding the past events. For what? In order to find out the real track in the present and may lay foundation for the future. So he believed the strange parts of the history have much to teach us. He believed that progress is never linear. So important ideas and attitudes get lost, and role of the historian is to save those ideas. So here he has discussed the role of historians. Then what is the role of historian? Historian plays a vital role, especially in saving the most important ideas on the piece of papers. Otherwise, all the most important events might have been buried along with them, means in the graves. So this is the greatest contribution of historians, that they always put uh, most important events or ideas of the past on the piece of papers, and we have those ideas in the form of book. We can learn from opposite ideas. This is again the most important point of Hegel, that he believed in dialectic type of art. Dialectic means that there must be certain type of discussions, opposition of ideas. When we discuss those ideas with people who have different type of opinions about the thing, then we learn a lot. Art has a purpose. Certainly, art is not purposeless. Art play most important role in the life of man. Why? Because it has a purpose in it. Rejects the idea of art for art's sake. Now, people take art very easy, and they are of the view that art is nothing, and simply it is the source of entertainment. So that's why art is for art's sake. So he rejects the idea. He's of the view that you should not take art as a very little type of thing or very trifle type of thing, but it is the most important type of thing in life of man. Man is the highest part of nature because he is conscious of it. Now, see, here we have the most important point, and that is the mystical point, that man is most important in the world because he is conscious of it. Consciousness is in man, so that's why on the basis of his consciousness he is the most important creature. Hegel insisted on the absolute, and absolute over here, the people, there are two means groups of people who took it as a god, and others took it as the material one. No, see, it is up to the understanding of man himself that either he considers absolute as a god or he takes us in entirely wrong way that is called a material world. What Hegel argues is that in order to have a sense of the world, they must have an identity and self consciousness to have perception of outside object. It means that if you want to have a sensible life, that you must be self conscious. Self conscious means that you must know yourself first. And on the other hand, you must look around yourself in order to perceive the outside world. Hegel saw all reality as being composed of spirit. And what he means is the realization of ideas that have come from necessity of being. It means that, again, two things are over here. Number one is spirit. And the second is realization of ideas around you. Hegel is similar to Kant in that attempts to try to give us a hint of ultimate reality through the subjective consciousness of human experience and insists that this is the reflection of an absolute reality. Number one, we must be aware of reality. And reality is subjective. When we feel the things, when we understand the things, then the reality will be very much clear to us. Reality will come out on the surface. And it is based on the consciousness of human experience. Number over here, the two things are most important. Number one, your spirit. Number two, your experiences. But those experiences must be in right direction that you may feel the reflection of absolute. Jest. Jest means is the moment when consciousness fully understands its own nature, its essential unity with all that exists. The worldly meaning of jest is spirit again. It develops through history, with each period having a spirit of the age. Spirit means jest is the name of Hegel most often uses to designate this fundamental unity. And the goal of philosophy is to gain the absolute knowledge. So the chief aim of philosophy is to receive the knowledge regarding absolute. So over here, Hegel is Hegel most often uses to designate the fundamental unity. Okay, fundamental unity that you must feel in union with the absolute. This is the fundamental unity. The changes of history, its dialectical path would then come to an end. It means that when you achieve absolute knowledge, then the history changes, and over here the path is the discussion. Discussion must be sorry in opposition, and then uh, such type of things very much would be very much clear, and the opposition will end itself. Here, the second coming point is dialectic and self consciousness. What is a dialectic? Dialectic is a method of argument for solving disagreement. It means that why do we discuss with others? In order to solve a disagreement over here, disagreement among people are between two. Reaching the truth by exchanging logical arguments. We want to reach the truth, but in the light of logical arguments. Hegelianism believes that human mind cannot understand anything unless it is split into two opposites. It means that the human mind means is unable to understand the things until and unless two type of things are put before it, or two opposite things are put before it. So dialectic is used in order to extract the truth. Here, now we have three means components: tall, short, the different rights, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So I have tried my level best in order to make it very easy and clear that you may understand the philosophy over here. The philosophy, especially, which has been put forward by Hegel. The thesis is an intellectual proposition. It means that thesis is intellectual one. Antithesis is the critical perspective on the thesis. It means that antithesis is certainly criticism. Criticism of what? Criticism of such knowledge which intellect has achieved. The synthesis solves the conflict between the thesis and antithesis by reconciling their common truth and forming a new proposition. In order to have new idea, synthesis certainly makes it easy to understand the philosophy. He believes that he means Hegel believes that we are born lacking self-consciousness, then come to awareness of ourself as self. It means that from the very beginning of our life, we don't have self-consciousness. What is process of becoming the self? How we may feel that we are something in the world, or we are the most important person in the world. How do we come to know? How does a human being come to consciousness of itself as a self? It is through confrontation with others. When you come into contact with others, when you discuss various issues with others, then your personality, your consciousness is established that you are something in the world. For example, when I ask you questions in the classroom, and then I always look forward on the faces of your class fellows that who will come forward to answer the question. Suppose when any one or two or three or four when one or two or three or four students answer the question, then I appreciate them. When I appreciate them, then they they always feel that they are something. It means that they can easily understand their self. Their self means now they have been identified that they possess certain type of knowledge which others don't. So this is the means way to understand yourself, or to identify yourself. When you are pointed out, when you are appreciated by others. So and so and this is the best way of dialects. Or we discuss the things in means we discuss different type of topics in the classroom, and sometimes what happens that you may you may ask me questions, or when I ask you questions you are not agreed to me, and then the discussion starts, and then we at last we means at one point are agreed means with the help of discussions we have come to the truth, and educated people are no more stubborn, and they logically they don't discuss the things, but they always discuss the things in the light of logic, in the light of different philosophies, in order to understand the truth, in order to in order to in order to become conscious about the world around them. So this is the most important thing which I wanted to discuss over here. The reality of self depends on two things. There are two most important things on which your self depends. Consciousness of self. You must know importance of yourself. That you are something. You are the important person. You know something. Self existence acknowledged by other human beings. And when other people are there who may acknowledge yourself or your personality, right? Number one, you should be aware of yourself. It means that at least you should know importance of yourselves, that you are something over here in the world, on the basis of the knowledge, on the basis of your consciousness, on the basis of your philosophies. You can convince the people, you can discuss the important points with people. So you are something over here. Number one, self consciousness. Number two, that your existence may be acknowledged by others. It means that the people may appreciate you, that whatever you know is certainly quite right. And in this way, you achieve or you enjoy honor and respect in the eyes of the people. In other words, we can say that this is the process of identification of oneself. This is the uh, uh, process of identification of your personality by others as well, right? Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I ask you questions because I want to know that either means the things are very much clear to you or not. No, see that. Okay, cells are not born but made. Every man in the world certainly comes, but he have to try hard in order to learn the things. And then when he grows up, he is certainly entirely different than that of other people or other persons in society. With his hard work and pains he or she takes on his or her part. So all things are such type of knowledge, consciousness, identification, realization are not means inborn qualities, but we have to work hard in order to achieve that. Every individual needs recognition from the other to ensure his selfhood. So what we do, we are in need of getting recognition from others. For example, how do you feel when you are appreciated, when you are when you are identified by others. Suppose I don't want to mention the names over here, otherwise the rest of the students will mind it. No, see, there are few students in your class who are very much means prominent in some other sections as well. Have you ever thought that on what grounds the people know them? And do you think that why they are respected? And why means common men like me is not given importance importance. Why? Because it is on the basis of my hard work. It is on the basis of your efforts, your means it is on the basis of your knowledge that you are being respected everywhere. And why you have taken all these pains on your part and part at loss. I am sorry, time is running out. So I don't understand that what is happening today. So we'll continue after 5 minutes, please.